and welcome to For Action Takers Only. Tonight, Bill, before I go into that, I want to just say, if you're liking the channel, you like what you see, please like and subscribe. We can use the support. Channel always needs the support. Y'all know that. So like and subscribe. I'm going to bring in Tony Eisenhauer. He's a pretty new guy in SubTo. And he's been doing some deals already this year and was doing some before he even got in SubTo. So I see him taking action. He reached out to network, and I wanted to get him on here and tell his story. So let's bring him on in. What's going on, Tony? How you doing?
How you doing, man? Appreciate you having me on the show.
No problem. Thanks for doing it, man. I really appreciate your time. Dig the SubTo light in the back there.
Yeah, thanks, man. My wife got that for me for Christmas, so
cool.
Stoked on
badass.
it.
Yeah, badass. So where are you from?
So I'm in Massachusetts, just south of Worcester.
Okay.
I'm about 10 minutes south of Worcester, so central Massachusetts.
And how long you been up there?
So I grew up in Connecticut, just over the line in Massachusetts. I've been in Massachusetts 6 years now.
Okay. And is that where you're doing all your deals?
Yeah, for the most part. I have some long-term rentals in Connecticut, but it's like 10 minutes over the line, so it's very close to me.
Okay. So let's hear, how did you find SubTo? First off, how did you find SubTo and get started with that?
Yeah, so I heard Pace on Bigger Pockets, I believe was the first time I heard him. And I actually did seller finance on one of the multifamilies that we have. So I was kind of familiar with the whole process of seller finance. I actually didn't really know about Subject to at all or any other creative ways of finance. So when I heard of Pace and his story, I was super intrigued and did some digging and found SubTo. And it's been amazing since I've been in. It's only been a couple months, but it's been awesome.
So when did you join?
October.
Okay, yeah, only a couple months. So
Yep.
You said you were doing some deals though before this. So let's hear your story. How'd you get started? What got you started in real estate?
Yeah, I mean, so honestly, man, it dates back to 2014. Me and my wife bought our first house, and we actually bought 3 houses before the one that we're in now. And we were able to make money on each one. So it wasn't necessarily investments at that point, but we were able to kind of see the process of buying houses and how that whole thing worked. So I was always intrigued by, being able to make money on houses like that. But as far as investments go, I got into my first deal in 2019.
2019. Okay.
Yep.
So you bought your first home. Was that for you and your wife to live in? Your personal home?
Yeah. So, yep. My first one was in Pembroke, Massachusetts, which is probably about 40 minutes from here now. That was just a personal home. And then we had another home in Brooklyn, Connecticut, which was close to 20 minutes or so. Another personal house. But 2019, we bought our first investment property.
Two personal houses?
Yeah, man. We jumped all over.
All right. So you don't like staying in one house too long, huh?
No, so we're actually from Connecticut. Her family's from Connecticut, so we moved to Mass for college and stuff like that. And
okay.
And yeah, she missed home, so we had to move back home.
All right. Yeah, I used to live up in Norwalk, Connecticut, little town up there. So
Yep.
And that was many
close.
So what's it like getting into getting like real estate up there? I know property prices are pretty high up there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough market. It's definitely kind of cutthroat around here. People are edgy around here.
Right.
The New England style,
I gotta do this. So since you were already doing deals, how many deals did you do before you got into SubTo?
So I did three flips last year. My first one was in Worcester, Massachusetts. I actually bought it off of an auction site. And this was before I had my real estate license too. So I went through a friend that was a realtor, and he kind of helped me through the whole process. And that was actually my first flip.
Okay. So you went out and got your, so you have your realtor's license.
Yeah, I got that last year. I just saw value in it for, I wanted to keep buying and flipping houses. So I was like, man, if I get my license and I can save that 10, 15, $20,000 for, a buyer's agent or seller's agent, it's huge money. So
Right. So when you have a license, you don't need the buyer agent or seller's agent.
right. Yeah, especially with like that first house that I bought in Worcester. You actually need a real estate license to be on Hubzu, I think the app was called. And
Mhm.
just being able to have that app and see that information without having to go through somebody was huge.
Okay. So since you were already doing deals before Sub 2, what made you decide though on Sub 2? Why did you decide, "Oh, I'll go ahead and join"? Most people would probably say, "Ah, I don't need that."
So I love the whole creative aspect of it. My multifamily in Connecticut, we were able to do seller finance on
Mhm.
zero money down and a 4.5% interest rate. So like being able to do that and see that that was a real thing and having to put zero money down on, an asset that gets me cash flow every month was just so huge, so eye opening for me.
And you were able to do that before even learning about Sub 2 though.
Yeah. Yep.
So so how did you come across when you found this deal? First off, how did you find this deal then, this multifamily deal that you got for 0 down?
Yeah, it was actually my wife's mother and stepfather. They owned a business, a sanitation business, and very successful business. That they were actually they sold in 2020 or 2021. They sold the business, and I told them, from the get go, I was like, when you sell the business, because how it was, they had the sanitation business in the back, and in the front there was two duplexes, and I
Mhm.
said, when you guys sell the business, I want to buy the real estate. Um, and it
Okay.
actually worked out because they had sold the business for a decent amount of money. And I was like, well, listen, if we can do a seller finance deal, um, you're not going to pay taxes on that lump sum of money. Where if you were just put the real estate on the market, so I was able to save them a decent amount of money by taking advantage of seller finance, giving them a guaranteed payment every month, essentially for the next 20 years, and they don't get killed on taxes.
Right.
Yep.
Well, badass. So tell me your opinions of Sub 2 and the community so far.
Oh man, it's been amazing. We actually signed up in October, and then I think it was November was the deal maker weekend in Arizona, Scottsdale.
Okay.
Me and my wife went, just networked with a bunch of people, and it was like it was almost too much. It was like sensory overload, man. It's sub two, all the protege, I think is the other group there, and it was just amazing being around that many people, like-minded people. And that
My
was my first time being around sub 2 people, but I just feel like everyone in the community is so truly wants to help, you know?
Mhm. So
It's
have you go ahead.
good.
No, you go
No,
ahead.
I just feel like, everyone truly wants to help without expecting anything in return, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, and it's been an amazing community. That's blown me away from the get go. Yeah, the amount of people that are there to help. I'm in Houston, so there's a big, huge network here. We got a Houston Power Hour, and that's what I was just about to ask you. Is do you have any local people up there in Sub Two that you know?
So there is a few mixed around. Actually, Justin Tumanowski, he's up in New Hampshire, but he's probably like an hour and a half away from me.
Mm.
I haven't met him in person yet, but I have talked to him a bunch. Super nice guy, super helpful guy. So I can't wait to connect with him. We're actually having a New England meetup here on the 27th, so I'm looking forward to meeting all the sub two guys there.
All right, so you're gonna have a Sub Two meetup on the 27th.
Yep, yep, right in
That
Worcester, so it's close to me.
right next. Okay, that's good. That works out
Yep,
great, huh?
yeah, it's
So that'll
awesome.
be that'll be your first one.
That'll be my first meetup. Yeah, especially New England. Like I said, I did meet some sub two guys at the deal maker weekend, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, all the New England people I'm so excited to meet and network
All
with.
right. So when you join Sub 2, Pace has got some recommendations when you first get in, start making friends. Did you do your homework?
I did. I didn't. I haven't hit 50 though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
No.
All right. So are you gonna do you know about 0 down?
I've heard of it. I haven't looked into it if I'm being honest
Okay.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other one. If you need another 50 to get into zero down, that's learning to buy the businesses um zero down seller finance, creative finance with buying businesses. They're going over that now.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's a whole new thing, but you already know, I mean, you already got it figured out. You're doing zero down deals already.
Trying, man, trying.
Is that the only one you've had?
That's the only one I've had. I'm actually so it's funny you bring that up. I'm actually in talks right now of buying a junk removal business, and I was able to talk terms to the guy. He just wants out of the business, long story short, and I was able to do like a seller finance deal with him on that business, just kind of knowing what I know from the real estate end of things. And I was all fired up one day talking to him, and he's got a truck and stuff too. I'm like, "Hey, would you sub to me your truck too?" And he's like, "Sub to? What do you mean?" Like, I had to explain the whole process to him, but I actually got him on board to sub to the truck to me too. So
So the truck
I'm
wasn't
in
part of
I'm
the
in
business or what?
yeah
The
the
truck
truck. So it's a yeah.
go ahead.
So the truck will be sub to. I just got to work through all the details of the insurance and stuff like that. I'm still figuring all that out, but I'm pretty excited because it's a zero down seller finance for 24 months. So,
On the truck and the business.
well, so the business will be 0% for 24
Okay.
months, and then I'm
Mhm.
taking over his loan on the truck, which I think is like a 4 or 5% interest rate. I think it's $800 a month or something like that.
Okay. How long was he in business for?
He was in business for 4 years. It does well. I think the company grosses around 350,000 a year, and
Really? For
yeah,
junk?
he just yeah, man, there's a ton of money in it. Ton of money in it.
Oh, wow.
So my whole thought behind it was, he's like the first line of defense when people call for to clean out their house when they're getting ready to sell it. So I was talking to him. I'm like, man, this would be a huge addition to my business. This is like organic leads for flips, right? Like he's the first contact for people when they sell their house.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking, I'm like, man, if I can just for the leads in itself, he spent a ton of money on to get a really good Google presence and a great website. So all of he gets like 5 to 10 phone calls a day, all organically without spending any marketing money, just because he has such a good presence online.
And how did you come across this guy?
So he had this little post on Facebook Marketplace. I reached out to him and just started talking to him and picking his brain, and he seemed like a pretty good guy. We built rapport pretty quickly, and I was like, man, would you ever consider seller financing me the company? And kind of explained to him the process and what that would look like. And he's like, yeah, like that sounds pretty good.
So
So
tell me,
we were able to.
so go into it. I need to hear it. How did you explain it to him?
Oh,
Say this is like a role play almost. I'm the guy. Tell me how you explained it to him. I want to hear that story.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I was like, he basically wanted 85 grand for the company. And he wanted a lump sum of money. And I explained to him what I did with the seller finance deal on my multifamily. And I was like,
Mhm.
listen, I saved these guys money with taxes. I was like, I'm sure you're going to be in the same boat. If you get 85,000 for this today, you're going to be paying 35 to 40%, I'm assuming, on that money. So if I was able to break that up over the next 2 years for you, you're going to save a ton of money on taxes. He thought about it, and at first he's like, I don't know, it sounds a little sketchy, you know? And again, I told him the whole story with my multifamily and how well it's worked out, and just built really good rapport with him. And I said, listen, if I was to do, 0% financing with you for 24 months, it just breaks the payments up over those 2 years. Is that something that you'd be interested in? I can give you close to your asking price. And I think at this point he had a bunch of tire kickers, probably offering, low money for the business. So I'm sure after he thought about it for a couple of days, he's like, man, that does sound pretty good.
That sounds like a hell of a thing, and you just gave me an idea. Tire kickers. I always used to think, it's that they're bugging the shit out of everybody, but they're actually useful in the process. They wear people down.
Absolutely. Yep.
So yeah, I was like, oh, so I'm one out there right now. That's what I'm doing for some people. I'm wearing them down.
Yep.
I'm cold
Yep.
calling. I'm calling every day. I'm wearing them down, and someone else comes get a come along and sweep them up when you know. And I'll get there. I'll get there too. I'm just not in the choice picks yet, I guess.
Yep. Yep.
So, so you're buying this business. Is that a done deal? You got it, or you're still in negotiations with them?
We're still in negotiations. I actually offered him I sent him a LOI and offered him like two different, um, basically two different payments. I said, I'll give you 35,000 if it's going to be a year at 0%, or I'll give you 55,000 over 2 years at 0%. So I'm thinking he's going to go with the second offer, which is the higher amount, 55,000, and my payment will be less too, which is great. So I'll have more time to pay that back.
Man, that's freaking killer. So I got to ask you, how old are you?
I'm 33.
33. 33
Yep.
years old. Killing it. How many doors you own now? How right now? How many doors you own?
I got 7 total.
7. Okay.
Yep.
And are those ones you're holding? Those are all
Yep.
you're holding, right? And you're fixing and flipping too, so you've done more deals than just 7, right?
Right. Yeah. 7 is just my long-term buy and holds.
Buy and
Yep.
holds. And what are those? Are you setting those up as rentals?
Yeah. So that multifamily in Connecticut, it's 2 duplexes, but it also has a commercial garage on the back. So that's where her family ran the business out of. And what I was
Oh,
able to do is buy that multifamily under market value, which was still a great deal for them. We paid 550 for it. And what I did was go in there, fix up the apartments a little bit because they were dated. Did new porches on the front of them, and then rented out the garage space. There's actually like 5 bays. So what I did was separate each bay. I built a wall in between each bay, and I rent out each bay separately. So I just forced a ton of appreciation on the building. It's probably worth, close to 850, 900 now. And then it cash flows like 2 grand a month. So it's a killer deal.
oh wow.
Yeah.
All right. So with fix and flips, how many of those have you done?
I did 3. So
3?
we did one in Oxford here, which was actually on my property, which technically was a burr, I guess, not a flip. We put a renter in there. I refinanced out, got my money back on that one, and then that was the first one that we did, the first renovation we did.
All right. That's man. So what's you got the and so I mean I'm amazed. You're 33. You're already got seven doors under your belt, buying properties, fixing and flipping, and now you're in the works of buying a business. And the funny thing is you didn't even know about zero down.
Nope.
So you're already jumping into like what they're teaching in zero down without even knowing about it. So it's like, man, there should be no excuse for other people out there doing it. You don't really need the community and all this to do it, but the community helps definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so I soaked up a ton of content. Like I said, I actually started a transportation company too. I've had like 5 businesses in my life so far. So I'm
So
kind of
you're a
just,
serial entrepreneur is what you are.
yeah, man, trying to make it work. But when I owned the transportation company, I was in the seat every day. I was driving 10, 12 hours, and I was just soaking up information. I was listening to Bigger Pockets and all those good podcasts, right? So
Mhm.
I kind of figured out, like, long term, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into real estate. I was like, man, I don't want to sit in this truck all day every day. I got to put somebody in this seat and make money with the truck, and then I want to go do real estate. Um, but it didn't work out particularly like I thought. The trucking business is pretty tough, finding good employees, and it's tough to make money, especially around here. So we ended up selling the trucks, but I think everything happens for a reason. Like I said, I spent a lot of time driving in that seat, and I learned a ton of information. So I look at it as a win-win, positive.
All right. So you've already had one business and then okay, and then you're looking at buying another.
Yep.
So really making some strides on that. So you said you got your first meetup coming. When is that?
January 27th. It's
Sub
it's at Olo Pizza in Worcester. Yep.
Olo Pete. Okay. So are you
Yep.
looking forward to that? Get to do some face-to-face networking.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. There's a local real estate meetup too around here. It's once a month in Worcester too, but it's not sub two, it's just a regular real estate meetup.
Okay.
So I go to that. I go to that every month too and just try to network and just meet as many people as I can.
Yeah, you should. I just got involved with a local business network here in Katy. I want to start trying to. It's for Houston, so yeah, I got to start networking off and branching off in different ways too. So, what's your what are in your plans now? What's your future look like?
So my goal is basically what I figured out last year with doing these flips is it takes so long to get your money back out of a flip, right? So, typically it's 4 to 6 months to get your money back out of these flips. And what I
Hmm.
realized is I don't have a lot of money coming in between those flips. So it's tough to, even if you make 50, 60, $80,000 on a flip, you still have to wait for that money to come in. So what I
Hmm.
realized is all our bills are still coming out of my savings basically in that time because I'm busy with the flip. So this year what I'm trying to do is make money in between these flips to hopefully with the junk removal business, and still do at least 3 to 6 flips this year.
Okay. Are you going to buy any more? Planning on buying more doors too?
I'd love to. I really want to partner with somebody this year too. Maybe somebody who could bring the money or manage the deal and vice versa, and we can partner up on a multi. That would be cool.
Okay. So, when you bought your first home, what was that like? What was that experience like?
It was pretty good. My wife at the time was actually a manager at a bank, and I started my first business that year too, which was actually a landscape business. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Did you do it all traditional, like with the traditional loan? Yeah,
yep,
'cause you've only done one seller finance deal, so I don't know why I'm
yep.
asking that. So, all right, you got business, you got homes, you're in the community. What's your have you figured out your avatar in Sub 2 yet?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say probably like a unicorn agent or a visionary. I think the unicorn agent is a newer thing. Obviously, I just got my license last year. So when I heard unicorn agent, I was like, that probably resonates pretty well with me because I'm pretty knowledgeable in a lot of aspects of real estate, and being an agent, I feel like there's a lot of agents who don't know much, honestly, about real estate. So, um, and then a visionary, I think, just because I'm entrepreneur minded, I think
Yeah.
that's also resonates pretty high with me too.
I think you got it nailed pretty good, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. So,
What about you? What would your
me,
avatar be?
well, I it's like I when I joined Sub 2, it was this I did what I think everybody does. You either do direct to agent, direct to seller, or something like that. I'm not a visionary. I don't know jack about real estate. So, and I've learned a whole lot and still am learning that I don't know jack about real estate. So, I do direct to agent and direct to seller, mostly direct to seller right now, cold calling. I'm on 2 teams. I'm cold calling for a single family home, for a friend of mine, and then I got on another team to start learning about multifamily. And then I got something thrown in the mix this week, and I gotta make a decision, but, it's a hard decision. I got an offer to go work well, I don't know if it's work. I got an offer to go work for a company called Realty Funding Realty Funding Group here in Houston, and they said they'll train you for commercial real estate to get my commercial real estate license. They'll train me for my commercial real estate or commercial loan officer license and financial planning, commercial financial planning.
Cool.
So I'm thinking about that, but I had run it across a couple people, and one of the guys I ran across is a guy named Jeff Smith here in Houston. If you look, I would recommend you look him up. Um, he's a big prominent fit. He's an up and coming in Sub 2. He's a major sales guy. Great stuff. He's always on the Friday morning Zooms. He does a Friday morning one every Friday. So look up Jeff Smith. But I talked to him about it, and I love his. I really admire him and his opinions on stuff. So he is like, I'd be weary of that. It looks kind of sketchy, and now I was thinking that too. It's been running around my head a lot. It's like I got this decision to make now. It's like shit.
Right. Yep. Yep. I
See,
hear you.
you got in and dove in, man, and I wish I did it younger. I wish I had started this stuff a lot younger, like you and some other guys. Because I have a lot of fear. I'm older, and I got a son. I'm a single father, so there's some things that I got to stop and go. Wait a second, I can't just throw myself in this kind of situation because I have my son to think about first.
Right.
So
Yep. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I got a 4-year-old and 2-year-olds, two boys. So everything I do is for them, and and
well, you got a whole
I
family, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep. And
So
yeah,
four and
I really, the reason I got into real estate to begin with was the long term. I really, for whatever reason, I always have thought like, working is great. I like working with my hands. I like working hard, but I know when I'm 50, 60 years old, I don't want to be shoveling holes to pay the bills. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, and I'm 52, so I don't want to be doing that kind of stuff either anymore. I got out of electrical a couple years ago, and started selling drones. And well, drones doesn't make good money either. So they're fun. They're fun as hell, but they
Yeah.
don't make very good money. But so I had a question I was just going to ask you, and it went out. But
Hate when
you
that
got your
happens.
family, yeah, yeah. You have your family, two boys, okay.
Yep.
Uh, supporting them with this, it's awesome. But again, it just it amazes me how you young guys get into it and pick it up so easy. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I won't lie to you, man. I jumped right into it. Like I said, I listened to podcasts. That was it. I just jumped right in and I was like, I'll figure it out. And luckily I did have the opportunity through her family to have that deal kind of fall into my lap. But I was just 100% in, man. I was like, I'm gonna make this work.
all right, you mentioned Bigger Pockets. Was that the first podcast you started listening to?
For real estate, yeah, definitely. I listened to every single episode too, man. I went back to like literally episode one and just listened to every one.
What, on YouTube? Playing it off of YouTube?
No, like Spotify through the podcast there.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. So, what other one? Do you have any other mentors or other ones you follow?
I listened to a ton of the Rookie podcast too. So Bigger Pockets has the Bigger Pockets Rookie, which is awesome. Which is just
Okay.
people just getting started. 1, 2, 3 deals. So
Hmm.
you really hear like some firsthand information that you can resonate with when you're getting started.
All right. Who are some of the big names you've heard of in SubTo since you've been in?
Justin Tumanowski. I mean, Pace has been talking about him a ton since I've been in, and he's a
Yeah.
New England guy too. So I root for him, and I can't wait to meet all those guys because they're hometown guys.
All right. So there's
Yep.
also another, like I mentioned one, Jeff Smith. He's an up and comer here because he's in the Houston area sales again. He
Yep.
does sales training, and he's freaking awesome. I mean, the guy is awesome. I plug the hell out of him because I really and I like what he does. So
Yeah.
uh,
I actually talked to him last week. I was
okay,
on a daily yeah, I was on an East Coast daily dial. It must have been a Friday because I think he does the Fridays, yeah. And
everyone, yeah.
yep, I was doing a role play with Tanisha Epps, I think her name is. Yeah,
Oh
Tanisha
yeah.
Epps.
Okay.
And dude, she was giving it to me hard, man. She was like, we were doing a pre-foreclosure role play, and she was just leaning in hard like a real phone call. It was awesome. And I was struggling, and I didn't really know what to say next. And Jeff kind of hopped in and took over the conversation and just killed it. Like the two of them going back and forth. Tanisha was pretending to cry on the phone. Like it's in the Zoom vault if you actually want to go see it. I can
No,
find
I
the
was
date.
listening. I was
But
watching that one. I was watching.
yeah, yeah. So she's pretending to cry, and Jeff was just full of empathy and walking her through the whole process. And it was such an eye-opening experience to see him kind of get on her level and be able to just still sell her even without trying to sell her, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I listened to this call for that he posted the other day. I was like, oh man. So it really good. It was just really how he keeps the conversation going. You could tell the guy was trying to hang up on him at one point, trying to get off the phone and go, and he was just able to keep it going. And it was just like, wow. I mean, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll let you go. You know,
Right? Me too, man.
it's like, no, I don't know. It's like, man, he is so smooth that it's, he's smooth.
He's a ninja, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, he definitely is. So
Yeah.
how hard was it to get your real estate license?
It wasn't too bad. In Massachusetts, it's just I think I did a 8 week 8 week program. So I went 2 nights a week for 4 hours, 2 nights, and for 8 weeks, and then you pass a test at the end of that, and you're licensed right then and there.
You got to pay for the test?
Yeah, I think it was a
Yeah.
couple $100. Yep.
How much was the course? They charge you for the course, obviously, too, right?
$700, I think. So I think all in it might be $1,000 or right under $1,000.
And what all kind of stuff do they teach you in the real estate to get your license? Are they teaching you underwriting, comping, and all that stuff?
Not much, man. It's mainly just a lot of the bookwork stuff, a lot of the back end program stuff. It amazes me. A lot of realtors and a lot of people in real estate aren't necessarily savvy on investing or investments. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's more of just helping a buyer or a seller through the process of listing or buying a home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how come you didn't go the realtor route? How come you didn't get into working for a realtor? Just wanted to work for
Uh,
yourself?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mainly wanted to work for myself. I think, I tell my friends and family, I would totally love to help them buy or sell their house, but I think I really want to just stay focused on building my business, and I think having my real estate license is just another tool in my tool belt.
All right. So with the real estate license, I don't know much about them. Do you have to do anything to keep them up to date?
Just money. You just got to keep paying the fees every year. It's
So there's
pretty
a
cheap. I think it's a couple $100, $400 or $500 a year to pay
okay.
for MLS and your broker and all that type of stuff.
All right. Well, so with the realtor license, you got the MLS access.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. So where do you and so you can just plug in now to Zillow and use your MLS access in Zillow or anything, huh?
Yeah, yeah. You can actually, so MLS PIN is the Massachusetts website, and you go right
Hmm.
on that website, and I can pull expired listings or canceled listings all through Massachusetts. So every day there's like a ton of new expired listings. So you can make a living just calling those deals, and talking to people who are selling their house for whatever reason, couldn't sell it on the market. So those would be
Right.
perfect SubTo deals.
Right. So how hard was it to fumble through listening to all this stuff on Bigger Pockets? You decide to jump in after, say, buying your personal house. You see the process, I guess. You bought your personal house, see the process. So
Yep.
you decide to buy another.
Yep. Yep.
That's
We
how it.
bought Yeah, so the house that we're in now, we actually rented first. So we rented for 2 years. Um, I actually me and the owner, the old owner of the house became pretty close friends, and he got a job offer in California, so he's like, he wanted out of the house bad. So we ended up working through it, and I bought the house. This was right before COVID, 2019. And so I got a killer deal on this house, and it's kind of hard to explain without seeing it, but there's actually two houses on my property.
Mhm.
The front house was like just a rundown. It's a 2 bedroom. It was like in rough shape, man. And we were renting this back house, and I was like, if I buy the back house, I want first dibs on the front house too. When you sell that, and he's like, I'll sell them to you both right now. So we ended up actually buying both houses. And what I did was we paid 90,000 for the front house, which was again very under market value, but it needed a ton of work. Ended up putting like I think 100,000 into it. Put a renter in there and then refinanced out. So we got all of our money back, and now it's worth probably like 350. So there's a ton of equity in it, and that was my first hands-on experience with like really renovating a house.
Wow. I've always wanted to do it, but scared to shit, scared shitless to try and do a fix and flip, especially by myself. It's just like not something I've ever, always wanted to look for someone that was doing it.
Yep.
So it just amazes me how y'all are doing it, and then you're doing it and you didn't even, I mean, I just listened to some Bigger Pockets podcast and I'm gonna go out and do this. So how hard was that first flip? Did you flub a lot? Did you make a lot of mistakes? I mean, what kind of stuff did you mess up on and learn from?
Yeah, definitely a ton of mistakes. Contractors, man, that's the first thing I'd say is definitely vet your contractors and don't pay them until the job's done. Because even on my last flip, I learned a ton of stuff too. Because just dealing with these contractors, they're great people, but sometimes they're not great business people.
Mhm.
They do great work, but showing up for the job every day is sometimes difficult. They try to manage like 3 or 4 jobs at a time, and you're obviously on the gun to get this thing done. So they're also trying to manage their business doing 3 or 4 flips at a time. So a lot of this stuff is really like vetting people, working with people, getting to know people, and just working through those troubles, man. Because you can get holding costs alone. I mean, you can get pretty held up if you don't budget that stuff correctly.
Right. See, that's what I get worried about. I'm trying to buy one right now. I'm not. I put in an application, but it's like I still get worried about. Okay, what if I get stuck holding this thing? I can't get renter in there right away. I'm gonna end up in trouble. But it's just like hey, gotta learn to let it go sooner or later, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, doing your due diligence, really looking at the market in that area, and seeing what has gone, how quick stuff is going, or if you're going to put a renter in there, see what the demand is like for renters in the area. Really doing that due diligence kind of make you feel better about the situation. Obviously, you can lose big on a deal, but you can make out big too. So it's definitely
Okay.
a risk and a reward.
So I gotta ask you, does your wife help out in your business?
Yeah, she's a big help, man. She does a lot of the back end stuff, the accounting, and when I'm out in the field managing these jobs, she's at home answering the phones if we have, a lot of stuff going on with the banks or lenders and stuff like that. So she does a lot of the back end stuff for me.
Okay. So what did you do? What was your occupation before you started real estate investing?
So I've always kind of been in the construction field. I run heavy equipment too, so I have my operator's license to run excavators and skid steers and all that stuff too.
Okay.
Um, so it's actually another business I have too. I do patios and retaining walls and stuff like that on the side. So I'm looking to kind of really integrate all three of these businesses this year, between the junk removal, doing these patios and flipping houses. So I really want to stay busy between the three.
Hell yeah. Well, it sounds like you're already pretty busy. And yeah, that was a hell of an idea. I wouldn't have thought of that, using a junk removal to do leads, for, yeah, because you're cleaning out houses. Well, that's kind of common sense, but I don't
Right.
know. You come in here. See, I see you get young guys, and I see guys like you come in and do this stuff. I have like a mental block with it. I think there's something that just makes me feel like I'm retarded when it comes to some of this stuff. I don't see it. I don't get it. I'm serious. I'm not. It's like I don't see it. I don't get it. And then since I don't
Yeah.
see it, I don't get it. It throws a lot. I don't know if that just because I don't understand it is what throwing the fear in or what. I'm not sure. But man, I see you guys coming along killing it, and you're an inspiration. So I love seeing you guys, and that's why I get you guys on here too. I like talking to you guys. And so now you've been doing this a few years. Tell me about at times there's got to be times when you're like struggling and thinking, man, what am I doing? Did I make a mistake? Was this the wrong idea? Did you beat yourself up? Tell me about those hard times where you're like struggling mentally and like, man, should I keep doing this or what?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, especially last year, like I said, we were doing well with the flips, but it was just the in betweens where I was like, man, we're eating away at our savings here because we're waiting for that big payout at the end, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think last year was a huge learning experience to be like, and I think that's why people wholesale too and fix and flip, as one business, because those wholesale fees can keep you afloat in between your fix and flips too, which is actually something that, I'd love to do more of too, which I'm hoping with these leads from the junk removal. if I'm busy with flips, I can also just wholesale these deals too, and keep the money flowing. I think that's the biggest issue with any business is really cash flow and staying cash flow positive.
Right. Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, with your junk business, the wholesaling, definitely. You come across stuff if you're busy with one flip, can't do it. Definitely wholesale it down the line. So you're going to have that coming along too. And you
Yep,
will. So,
definitely.
so, so you actually own two businesses already
Yep.
in 7 doors, and I'm still just blown away. So, what do you do on a daily for your mindset, though? Do you have
So
any?
right now, yeah, right now I'm actually doing 75 hard. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It's like a
Yes.
th- yeah, man, it's been awesome, and I'm in Massachusetts in New England, so it's obviously been cold and snowy and rainy here. And I've been getting up at 5:30 every day, putting on my 35 pound vest and going for my 45-minute walk in the morning. So it's been an adjustment, but I think being on a strict schedule like that, I get up at 5:30, I do that 45 minutes, I hit the daily dial at 7. Um, I'm usually there till 9, and then I'll go to the gym again, do my second 45-minute workout around 9:30, come home, eat lunch, spend a few hours on the computer, and then having that like set schedule every day where like you're doing that thing at that hour really helps your mind kind of just stay focused on what your goals are, and having like a larger goal and breaking that goal down into like a monthly, weekly, daily task is so
Mhm.
huge to feeling like you can achieve those goals.
Absolutely. That's what I've had. I mean, I've had to learn at 52. I'm learning all sorts of new tricks from all these young people. Hey, try this, try this. We didn't talk about that kind of stuff when we were younger, or
Right.
in my generation. It's just like go take action, go mess up, and then someone else will, take it from you.
Well, dude, like that's why the podcast, don't sleep on the podcast, man. Like I said, that rookie podcast, I think really was like the game changer for me because I listened to these people that, maybe were in way worse situations than I was, and they're out there just making deals happen. And I'm like, if they can do it, like I can do it. You know what I mean? Anybody can do it if they put their mind to it. So I just took that leap of faith and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it.
Right.
And yeah, I think that this day and age with the podcast and YouTube, man, like there's just so much information out there.
Yeah. You seem to like you see the opportunity right away though. Talking with you, you see the opportunity in things and you've jumped on it ahead of time and it's just like, okay, hey, whoa, wait, there's an opportunity there in a junk removal business. Me, I'm like, it's junk. So I gotta learn to look a little deeper. I think that's one thing I only tend to look at face value a lot on certain things and don't know how to see. I don't know. Some people have that ability to see the value in things, and I think others don't. I might be one that I don't see the perfect value, but I think it's learnable. Hopefully, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, absolutely. I think perspectives a lot, everything too, man. Like I look at everything as the glass is half full, So in a bad situation, I always try to take the best out of it, and most of the time you can find some good nuggets out of bad situations. So
Right. So I got to ask you: are you a book reader? Do you do a lot of reading?
I do now that I'm doing 75 hard, but before that, no, not much.
No, didn't have it. Yeah, that's
No,
not
just
necessary.
pod.
Just a
Yeah,
podcast.
just podcasts and YouTube, man. I watch a ton of YouTube videos and listen to a ton of podcasts, audiobooks too.
All right. Yeah, YouTube has been phenomenal. I wish, like I was a guitar player when I was a kid. If they had YouTube, I would have been a rock star,
Right?
Yeah, I'd have been Steve Vai, not Steve Vai. No.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no. So, man, we're winding down. I'm running out of
Cool.
questions. Uh, Trying to think of what I want to ask you. I mean, so you got a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old. Your wife's involved. How old's your wife? How long you been married?
So we're actually been together since sophomore year in high school. Been together
Oh wow.
14 years. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yep.
she's like your backbone then. So she's pretty much your partner in the business.
Yeah, and everything, man. So we're like an open book. If we're not on the same page with stuff, then I usually don't try to pursue it because she's my other half. So we make stuff happen together for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. I really that's really awesome because I've always done things alone. I have a bad picker in that area, and after my son's mother, I decided to stay single and just raise my son. So last 10
Yep.
years, that's what I do, just work. And I became a hermit though. See, so I use this to get start networking, and this podcast started as a homework assignment for Project Forward from Pace. Okay,
Okay.
he was on this Project Forward, and this started as that. And I was really, I'll be honest, when he said do a podcast and start your YouTube channel, I was like, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be on camera. I'm no. So I went
Yep.
ahead and like I better dive in and do it, or I'm not going to do it. And now we're moving along. So you got so how are you building your presence online? Have you started doing that?
That's one area that I definitely slack on. I think, like especially with my hardscape business with the patios and stuff, I haven't
Hmm.
done too much online presence, which I know nowadays is everything. It's so big, so it's something I definitely need to work on this year for sure.
Yeah, look up JJ. I don't know if I'm gonna say his name right. JJ Azizan or something. It's Azia. It's a weird name. You find him on YouTube. He does a networking. He shows you how to start doing some stuff with your Facebook, building your online presence. Lance Riggin also want
Yep,
to yeah, probably yeah, he's great, man. So I would look up those guys. Those guys are very helpful.
cool. I
What
definitely
other plans you got? I mean, with businesses, homes, what other plans you got? What other kind of businesses you want to start? You're a serial
uh,
entrepreneur.
I got so many ideas, man. Me and my wife want to do short-term rentals too, but I really need to like kind of pump the brakes and focus on what I'm doing because my mind, I could do a million things. I'm ADHD to the max, so I really
Right.
need to just kind of focus on what I'm doing, and maybe next year we'll do a short-term rental or something. But
You talking about like Airbnb or something?
yeah, so she went to school for graphic design and she loves interior design and all that type of stuff. She's awesome at decorating and doing anything that relates to design. So she's passionate about doing a unique stay for an Airbnb, like a tree house or something like that, and making it all pretty on the inside.
All right. So
Yep.
you're gonna push this on your kids when they start getting older? I've been trying to push it on my son. I took him to the couple power hours, but he has no. He's 10. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You gonna push the kids on this?
Yeah, I'd love for them to get into it, man. Like my goal is to actually buy them a property. I actually heard this from somebody else on Bigger Pockets. Instead
Yeah.
of like making a college fund for them, I want to buy them a multifamily and be like, hey, listen, when you're ready to go to college or when you're 18, 19 years old, this property is yours. And you can decide to either take this over and keep that property going or sell it and go to college, like whatever you want to do. But that opportunity will be there for them.
That is an awesome idea. That is an awesome
Yeah.
idea. So tell me, what are your thoughts about all the information in Sub 2? Have you
Oh,
been
it's
overwhelmed yet?
very, man, very. I definitely I definitely joined the group of imposter syndrome and shiny object syndrome, I think. When you first joined, I was like, there's so much cool stuff in here. I can do all this stuff, you know what I mean? But
Right.
like Carolyn Kane says in Pace, like really just kind of focus in on one thing, one or two things and
Right.
dial in on those. Yeah.
And Pace sure makes that hard to do with all the new stuff he introduces, doesn't he?
He definitely does, man. For sure.
So so you're doing the 75 days hard. So that means you're up every morning and then you're in the morning Zooms every morning then, huh?
Yep. Yep.
And so you're doing the schedule. You're really
Yeah.
are you blocking your time like they tell you to and all that? Do this for so
Yeah.
long to
Yeah, so when I started 75 hard, I actually wrote it out on paper, like 7 o'clock or 5:30, wake up, do my 45-minute walk. 7 o'clock, I'm on the call for the daily dial. I wrote
Mm,
out every hour down to bedtime. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
just really, this was only 2 weeks ago, but really try to stick to that schedule. And I've been liking it so far, man. Like I said, I feel accomplished at the end of every day, and I feel like I'm working towards a goal, checking off each hour, you know what I mean? Really is kind of satisfying.
Yeah, here I did it. I started it in right after I started SubTo. I think I started in June trying to do the 75 days hard, getting up.
Yep.
I didn't even make it 30 days. And then, but my vacation came, and that kind of what screwed everything up. So ever
Oh
since
yeah,
then,
vacation.
ever since the vacation, I got back home and got back into doing. I got on a team and started doing cold calls. Just like I haven't blocked my time again. But yeah, she made me sit down or she didn't make me, but this is what she had recommended: sit down and write down your schedule, write out a schedule, and stick to it. And you're absolutely right, man. It was a big help. So that's one thing I got to get back to doing.
What do you think? So on 75 hard, did you not do one of the items one day? Is that what happened, or
Yeah, I stopped actually. I just vacation came and it was like time. I'm going on vacation.
you're just like, I'm done?
Yeah, I should have waited. I should have probably waited until after vacation to start, but I was like, I'm going on vacation, and then
Yeah.
vacation was there, and it was just like, yeah, okay. It's hard. It was hard to get back motivated into that. I mean, serious discipline like that. Once you start getting it, it seems to get easier. But if you stop and try to go back to it, man, it's like it's like breaking an addiction.
It is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you listen to Jocko at all, but his whole thing is discipline equals freedom. And I think that that's so true because when you're disciplined, man, there's nothing that's getting in your way. I actually started doing ice baths too in the morning. And yeah, I just have like a trash barrel on my porch in the winter and I fill it up with water, break the ice in the morning and hop in for 3 minutes. And just doing
I've
that in the morning, like when you get out, you're like, there is nothing that's stopping you in that day. You know what I mean? You already did the hardest thing that you're doing. So
Is that what it throws you into pretty much? I see
yeah,
people
you
do it. It's like, man, oh man. So how
it's
hard was it the
it's
first
more
time?
it's hard. It's very hard. I'm
Well,
not
how
gonna
long
lie.
did you
Like you
stay in the first time? The first time you can't just get in. I'm doing 3 minutes, and I don't believe that
no,
anybody. Yeah.
no, I
How
did
long did
probably
you
like 30 seconds my first time, 30 seconds, and then worked up to a minute. After a minute, it's actually really not that bad. You kind of like just like your body
start?
goes numb.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh
kind of go
man.
numb, and then 3 minutes you hop out, you're kind of shaking, you're shivering, and you let your body warm up, and you just feel so energized. It's awesome. I love it.
All right. So what are your favorite podcasts now? What ones you're listening to on a regular?
I listened to MF Project by Andy Frisella. He's the one who
Mhm.
started 75 Hard.
Okay.
I listen to him a lot. I still listen to Bigger Pockets. Um, Creative, Get Creative with Pace. I listen to that one too.
Okay.
I've listened to most of your stuff, which has been awesome too. So
How'd you
yeah,
run across mine? I gotta ask.
I think in the SubTo group somebody posted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Cool. Well, I appreciate you watching and checking it out, and then I also appreciate you being on, man. So I'm gonna have to get you on again. I want to. I see you as a visionary. I want to stay in touch with you because I am not a visionary. So I'd probably have like to swing ideas by sometimes get your input. That's why I like Jeff around too. I think he's a sales visionary. So
Definitely.
I like to bounce ideas off of people because I don't know. I've been here trying to do it alone, and it's not a good idea. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody trying to do it alone. So I've loved the
Definitely
community,
not.
and then meeting people like you and networking. It's really it's been changing my life in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I love that Pace is so humble about the whole community too. When he talks about the community, it's people are like, "Oh, Pace is the leader of the community," and Pace is like, "I'm not the leader. I'm just another cog in the wheel of this awesome community." So, I think seeing him being so humble with him being as successful as he is just so awesome to see.
yeah, absolutely. Man,
Yep.
we're getting right there at an hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and wind it down. I appreciate you being on. Uh,
Cool, man. I really appreciate you having me.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah. So, we didn't even talk about that. My friends call me Tony Toaster.
Yeah,
So
I
all
saw
my
that.
social.
Yeah, I saw that. That your link tree, Tony Toaster. I was gonna bring that up. Dang it.
Yes.
Tell us.
Yeah, so that was like a high school, just a high school thing that stuck. It's one of those stupid high school names, and it just kind of stuck. So um, there's actually a bunch of stuff that I didn't talk about too that I wanted to say on here, but I totally forgot.
We'll
Um,
get you that again.
yeah, man. But yeah, that name kind of stuck. So I knew people would remember it. So I kind of kept it with the real estate thing, so people would remember Tony Toaster. You know, so all my handles are Tony Toaster, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff.
Andy has a link tree. I'm going to tell you to send me all your links if you could email them to me so I can put them on the description of the video in YouTube so everybody can
Cool.
find. What else do you want to say? What else? You said you had some other things. Go ahead. We don't have to cut it down right now. What else do you want to tell them about?
No, I want to talk a little bit about my story too with how I got into I actually rode Harleys too. I did Harley wheelies for
Okay.
dealerships. Yeah.
Did you? No, I saw that you rode.
Yeah.
I saw something on your Facebook about the snow. You were on snow on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Like
So
years ago.
yeah, we actually were sponsored by a few companies to do wheelies and like burnouts and stuff like that on Harleys, and that's kind of where I first got into networking. And I traveled the country a little bit too, and did that. And the Tony Toaster name really kind of started getting big with that. You know, everyone remembers the name, so I was like, man, if I use that in the real estate game, like no one's gonna forget that Tony Toaster. You know,
No, you're right. They won't. I mean,
so
Pace, they're all big on use your name. But if that's something that's like a brand already, you already have a brand, Tony Toaster.
right, exactly.
Build it. Yeah,
Yep,
build that brand.
yep,
So
yep.
you used to do burnouts and wheelies for what demonstrations or what? You just go around dealership and stuff like that?
Yeah, so they'd have big events and they'd hire us. I actually there's four of us total that all rode Harleys, and they'd hire us to come do wheelies and stunt shows and like put on a show for everybody. There'd be, you know, anywhere from 100 to 1,000 people there at the dealerships, basically all Harley dealerships, and you know, they'd have food, and it was a huge event. So we were like the entertainment for everybody.
So what kind of bike did you have?
I had a Dyna, a 2002 FXDX Dyna.
Yeah, you still ride?
I still have the bike. I'm so busy with everything else. I haven't really rode too much. When I had the kids, I really slowed down a bunch on that, you know.
Yeah. I got a
Yep.
2007 Street Bob, but I went down in 2018, so it's
Oh,
still
did you?
sitting in parts in the garage. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Street
I
Bob
haven't.
though.
Yeah. No, it was a great bike. Loved the bike. It was a custom. Ended up custom. It was all custom out the way I liked it. And but I went down 2018, and luckily I only broke two ribs. But I don't wear a helmet, so I was very lucky.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, ever since then the bike's just been sitting there. I've been wanting to fix it, but nah, haven't been busy with other stuff, you know. And then I'm starting to get into this, and this is taking all my time. So.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, riding on the streets dangerous, man. People are crazy nowadays with texting and everything else, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the one thing. I won't ride in town. No, I won't go into Houston. Whenever I rode, I went out in the country. It was coming back into town, but I was on an unfamiliar road and I hit a dip and it threw me
Oh,
off the
okay.
bike. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't see the
Yep.
dip. It was too late when I saw it and I went flying. So
Oh, yeah. Riding's dangerous, man. For sure.
yep. Well, cool, man. It's been great talking with you. Look forward to watching what you do in the future with this. Keep in touch with me because I need a visionary to keep in touch with.
Cool,
Maybe
man.
we can build a team or something in the future.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Yeah, do something. Start doing some deals down here in Texas, buying some stuff down here.
I'd be into that for sure.
All right. Well, Tony,
Cool, man.
anything else you want to throw in there real quick?
No, I think that's it, man. I really appreciate you having me on, and this is actually my first podcast, so
Any
it's been
advice to
awesome.
newbies? Any advice to newbies then?
Just take the leap, man. Just go for it. Just
Don't
go
let the
for it.
fear get you. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate all your time. I'm going to end this recording right now.